So I knew what making these videos would get me into, and that's all okay. This is all part of the plan, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Reading this comment, it honestly it honestly made me feel a little sad because I felt the energy from it. And it's probably gonna make y'all feel a little sad too. I ain't gonna lie. Because when you really get down into the truth and the reality of things, especially when you depressed, that's why I said the word accountability for depressed people, myself included. Um, excuse me. Accountability. And when I say myself included, like when I was going through depression and when I was isolated from everybody, um, I didn't take accountability for what was going on in my life and I didn't take control over myself. So, since that's the case, I understand how it is to just hear somebody or feel somebody rip off the band aid and put all the weight on your shoulders. You see what I'm saying? Put all the weight on your shoulders and not have any sympathy and really just tell you how it is that nobody is going to save you. I'm not y'all mama. I'm not y'all friend. Y'all don't know me. So let me read this comment, man, because this is somebody who doesn't really understand what is really going on. And honestly, it's somebody who is clearly hurt. You feel me? So I don't want to send no hate to this person, right? But I'm gonna read this comment and we gonna make a video on it. So the comment says, damn, I expected something profound. And the video is accountability's power. But it turns out this vid is just pseudo intellectual BS. So for y'all who don't know, right? Anything pseudo is like something that is not real, right? It's like a little bit exaggerated or somebody who just doing something for a show, basically putting up a facade, right? Instead of what's really going on. Y'all can tell though, all of my subscribers and all of my supporters and all of my family members especially, they know that I put the work in order to be here. And I really just changed myself drastically. I mentioned this in a video a long time ago, but I'm gonna give y'all a little bit more Lindo Samalor. Bro, I've been into more fights in my life than I can count. I was heavy on drugs in high school, bro. Started smoking at the age of 15. I was sipping lean at the age of 16. You see what I'm saying? By the age of 18 and 19, I'm really ready to throw my life away. You feel me? And everybody could exude that. I'm just so deep inside of the darkness. But I found a light for myself and I started walking down the path myself. You see what I'm saying? So it says, let me get this straight. Grief is an emotion you can't control, but sadness, anger, etc. are. How the fuck that work? I'm sorry, shit like that make me laugh. That nigga said, how the fuck that work? Can you imagine how privileged you gotta be to say some shit like that? Oh, we choose to have mental illness. No, you don't. Bet I'll go give a pep talk to my paranoid schizophrenic friend, and the hallucinations connected to neurological dysfunction will just cease to be. Or better yet, I'll just tell my football player brother with CTE who lost some capacity for empathy due to brain damage to just be nice again. That's not what you have to tell him. And you definitely don't have to tell your schizophrenic friend to, just stop hallucinating. That's just ridiculous. Or I could tell someone who already killed themselves because their brain didn't produce enough endorphins. He's saying a bunch of he's saying endorphins. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Serotonin and dopamine that they were just choosing to be suicidal. Damn, this video is just mad projection. Lame as hell. So one thing that I want to say, I'm going to respond to every single thing in this comment section. I'm not going to respond with anything but love because love is the ultimate thing that will heal all of these people, right? even though it's only going to stem from themselves. Grief is an emotion you can't control because grief is something that actually heals you. You can't control anything that heals you. You can't control when your shell is being broken. You can't control when you are turning over a new page in life. And you can't control when you are being forced into evolution. If one of your parents pass away, you are being forced to be able to stand on your own or stand with one less parental figure. When one of your grandparents stand away or pass away, you are being forced to stand with one less figure. You are being forced to cherish and appreciate. Ultimately, grief should always make you a better person. However, you cannot let the grief transmute into something greater, and you cannot feed the thought form of depression. Because once you do that, you will remain stagnant and you will fall down a hole. When it comes to sadness, anger, and etc., sadness usually comes from the focusing of a past event, focusing on the negative on a past event, so to speak. However, grief and sadness are two different things. Sure, you might feel down when you are grieving or even quote unquote sad, but the fixation on the negative instead of the fixation on the grief is where the problem comes in. Because ultimately, if you feed the thought of sadness day in and day out, it will turn into depression. You will walk around with a dark cloud. You will begin to attract more negativity. You will begin to speak with more negativity. So you have to be very careful of what you are paying attention to. It's the same with anger. Anger is usually something that comes in the heat of the moment, and then after the moment is over, you are looking back on it like, man, I should have did this, man, I should have did that. You feel me? Man, I could have did this, man, I could have did that. It's a choice. And this is coming from somebody who has told, I don't even got to get into that, but this is coming from somebody who has let their anger consume them on many different occasions. Like I told y'all, I done got into more fist fights. Yes, fist fights, real fights with real people that I could even count. My people be telling me about fights that I don't even be remembering. I'm like, damn, that's right. I did do that. I did get into it with somebody about that. I did get mad about that. I did let my anger get the best of me. But with age and with maturity comes control and accountability. And this is where the power of accountability comes in, because once you allow yourself to become accountable, you will not have to deal with these same issues that you once dealt with before. When it comes to sadness, you will understand that grieving is grieving. If you lose a girlfriend, if you lose a family member, if you lose a friend, right? God forbid somebody commit suicide. A couple, I know, I don't want to get too personal, but sadly, suicide is something that is too common, especially within adolescence. Everybody knows somebody who then took themselves out, right? You can't tell them their brain don't produce enough bullshit. What you can tell them, though, is that there's nothing wrong with them. You can uplift them. You can point them in the right direction. And you can also tell them that nobody is coming to save them, much like how I'm treating you. His name is literally Shadow Yet Darker. So he is submerging himself in the frequency of darkness. And I don't know if this is something that he is doing deliberately or intentionally, but when it comes to these people on the internet, a lot of them like to sulk. So when they hear accountability, like I said, it's like putting kryptonite in Superman's back pocket. The nigga just gonna fall apart. But whenever y'all encounter these type of people, you can't meet them at their level. You can't scream at them. And you can't do all these different types of things. This person just trauma dumped. And that's okay. When somebody dumps pain onto you, and when you start to see I'm not going to say the negative aspects, but the aspects of a person where they release and show their pain, that means that your light is shining on their shadow. And that means that innerly, I'm not gonna say they soul, even though it is they soul. They soul is asking to be healed. But it's okay, man. As a healer, when somebody does these things to you, you should not get upset. You should not get angry. Simply meet them at their level and give them the encouragement that they need and give them the truth. Shadow yet darker. You don't know me. You don't know anybody on this channel. You don't know what anybody been through. So don't assume things, man. Don't make any assumptions. Anyways, bro, accountability can change your life. Your life. It can't change nobody's life around you unless you put them on game and they decide to act on it. But everything that happened. All you can do is control yourself. You can't control your family members who got CTE. You can't control any of your friends who have schizophrenia. You can't do none of that. All you can do is better yourself. And the best thing to do for somebody is to lead by example, not sulk. You either make the change or you don't, man. I'm gone.